Hello and welcome to my video. So in this video, I'll be going through easy Halloween crafts that you can do yourself. So the first one I started on, it does sound complicated, but it's wood carving. So wood carving, these are the tools that I used. The wood carving tools are pretty cheap, and if you get some basswood, it's a really fun holiday project. It is a little bit dangerous, probably a little bit more dangerous than pumpkin carving, but wood carving is really fun. You can make fun decorations like pumpkins. And so that's what I did. I started off with a piece of basswood, and I carved that into a circle, and then I carved indents, like the pumpkin indents, to make it look realistic. And this one was a taller pumpkin, and I do end up painting them later because this is basswood, so you can paint on it as much as you want. I just used acrylic paint, and it didn't scratch off or anything. And then these are little decorative items. You can also make them keychains, which you'll see later that I do with polymer clay. Now to make the stems for the wood carving, I use some polymer clay, and I fit them to the wood, and then I fire them inside the oven, and I painted them later. The polymer clay is a little bit harder to paint, but then I glued them together, and I used Posca pens for like the base coat, which went well on the wood. So the acrylic paint, I painted the pumpkin. I added some highlights on this one, but then on the other one, it was a shorter, stubbier pumpkin, and the wood carving took me maybe around an hour to 2 hours for both pumpkins. Once you get good knives, sharp knives, it's really fun to wood carve, and you can do this for any holiday. You can do a Christmas tree for Christmas. I've done dwarves before, and it's really cute. So these are the two pumpkins that I made for wood carving. Alright, so for the next craft, I did polymer clay keychains. So for these keychains, I used normal polymer clay. It was non-colored. It's not colored polymer clay, and I just sculpted a pumpkin. For this pumpkin, I did something different. I added it's kind of like a jack-o'-lantern. I added a creepy face, and I carved this with some, it looks like I'm carving with wood tools, but I just used those for the fine details, like because it had a really nice sharp point to carve with. But I just used some polymer clay carving tools, a paintbrush, and just played around with the clay until I got something I was happy with. I also used tin foil, and I balled it up into a hard ball, a solid ball, and then I covered the tin foil in polymer clay to make the keychain and save some clay. Because if it was solid, I would be using a lot of clay. I also made a ghost. So I made a cartoon ghost, and I added some little hands, and I saw this one on Etsy, I think it was. It was a very cute ghost, and so I took inspiration from that. And I didn't want my ghost to have a Christmas hat on, because that was the reference I was looking at. So I gave it a witch hat, and then I fired these polymer clays inside the oven. And I also had some other polymer clay projects I'm working on, so I fired those at the same time too. So that's a little sneak peek for a future video. And then I painted these with, yet again, acrylic paint. And I think I'm going to cover them in epoxy resin. I just didn't get the chance to buy the resin and cover them. Just because the epoxy resin, if they're keychains, if they get banged up and scratched, the epoxy resin will protect the paint and will make them long lasting. I also did try out an art hack where I used cornstarch to thicken up the paint because the polymer clay was hard to cover, and so I used some cornstarch into my white acrylic paint. And this was the final result. It was a very cute ghost and a little jack-o'-lantern. And I also got these keychains off of Amazon. If you just look up key rings, they're like $5 for 200 of them. Very, very cheap. And I just attached them and screwed them right into the polymer clay, and they worked perfect. Alright, so for the next one was Halloween stickers. So this one's so easy. Anyone can do this really easily. You just grab a piece of paper and you can draw whatever you want. So for this Halloween sticker, I made a collection of them and just doodled on the page. I started off with a pretty simple skeleton wearing a top hat and a bow tie, and then I did like a little portrait sticker of him. This one was pretty big. It was like 3 inches by 4 inches maybe, and I just used a Sharpie and a brush pen. And then I went kind of crazy, and I did 2 jack-o'-lanterns, a bat, which the bat was very easy to make, and a little ghost with a balloon, and then a skeleton. And I used some gel pens too to add some highlights, and then I just cut them out. And I'm just drawing this on normal printer paper too. This is another sticker I was pretty proud of, and right here you can just see I'm starting off with the foundations of the character and just building off of, I made a skeleton playing the ukulele, and this was my own drawing. I took inspiration from, actually, I was inside Target and they had a Halloween decoration, so I decided I was going to draw the decoration and make it into a sticker, and I think it worked out great. So this was a little fun sticker, and basically after you draw it on the printer paper, I'll go through the steps deeper inside my sticker making video, which I posted recently. I'll link that inside the description or the card above. But yeah, after you're done drawing whatever you want for your Halloween, you can draw ghosts, goblins, whatever you want. It doesn't have to be Halloween related. Anything you want, you can just make them into stickers by putting some tape. I just use some clear tape and I put it onto parchment paper. And then, like I explained inside my sticker video, I just cut them out off the parchment paper, cut them out, and then when you're ready to use them as stickers, the tape will peel right off the parchment and stick onto any surface you want the sticker on. And so this was a really fun project, and I've been collecting and making stickers for a while now, so I've got quite the collection of drawings and stickers I've made, and this isn't half of them of how much I have, but these are just my Halloween stickers that I made this season, and they're really fun to doodle and play around with. And I also use some blue and black pens. The next project was a fabric pumpkin. So for this one, it was actually quite hard to wrap my brain around. You can see here I'm just playing around with the fabric and which fabric color I wanted to use, and I wanted to try out different strings, and I thought I was getting the hang of it, and then it just fell apart and I couldn't get it together. So I looked up how to make a fabric pumpkin, and I did find some YouTube videos that go into deeper detail, so you can go check them out. But basically what the method I went with was I cut out a square, or a rectangle I mean, and I used a needle and some thread, and I sewed a cylinder basically, and then I squished the two ends of the cylinder to basically make it a round pillow. And I added, I think this is called embroidery floss, and the embroidery floss I just tied around the pillow that I had pretty tightly, and that made some bolds, like bold creases inside the pumpkin. And after I stuffed it, I tied the string around the pumpkin, and it made the creases, and it went pretty well actually. I think the hardest part for this project was actually understanding how to sew the fabric, which was pretty hard because I hadn't sewn in a while. I made my own Cookie Monster costume last year, but I kind of forgot how to sew, and so it was really great to remind myself, and this project was a lot of fun. It's more of like a decorative item. And then I did go outside, grabbed a stick that I was happy with, and then I carved the bark off of the stick, and this was the pumpkin I got. I'm pretty happy with the fabric I use and the way it looks, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video, maybe got some inspiration for your own projects, and I hope you enjoyed. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.